Hello and welcome to the space, the place where we talk all things growth, change, and transformation. I am Shawn Claxton, pastor, founder, creative mind behind the space. This is the place where we talk natural, spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional. And we do that each and every day, trying to make sure that we are constantly growing and changing and evolving. We have made it into the month of May. And for many of us, it has been many challenges. It has been many exciting points that we've come through, places that we've come through, but we have made it. So I welcome you to take pen and paper today. Sit with me as we begin to just talk about some of the things that keep us from growing and changing and evolving. We have talked about some various topics throughout the year, and this month will be no different. We are going to be learning this month about what it takes to be still when noisy things are going on all around us, when everything is talking at once, but God is still speaking. When everything seems to be talking at once, but God is still speaking. We're going to be talking about noisy seasons. How do we hear God in the midst of the noise? In the midst of our jobs, in the midst of our families, in the midst of different things that we're going through, in the midst of transition, in the midst of movement, in the midst of stillness. How do we hear him? And many times we can't hear because so much is clouding our ear gates. So let's talk about that today. The noisy seasons. How do we hear when God is speaking and everything around us is moving? Our focus for this week is going to be naming the interference. We don't need to normalize it. We need to be able to name it to see exactly what is keeping us from hearing, what is keeping us from settling down, what is keeping us from this place, this thing we call growth, we call change, we call transformation, from what is keeping us from getting into that space of intimacy with God, intimacy with ourselves, being able to see into ourselves, to understand who we are so that we can transform, so that we can change, so that we can be the very best version of ourselves. So I have a question for you today. What is competing with your attention? What is competing with your attention? Many things versus the one thing. And we can call that so many different things, but today I'm going to call it identity overload, identifying the overload. What is the overload in our life that has us doing all these things, but they're still not bringing us peace? It's not bringing us joy. It's not bringing us settlement. What is it that keeps us from getting to the place of peace, joy, fulfillment, walking in the place that God has created for us to be? In Luke 10:41 and 42, he said, Martha, Martha, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Here it was, Jesus was visiting with Mary, Martha, and Mary was sitting at his feet, and Martha was trying to be a great host. Do I have the couches in place? Do I have enough blankets? Do you need food? Do you need water? What can I do for you so that your stay can be fulfilling? His stay was already fulfilling because his presence was in the place. And he just wanted her to sit and to sup. And while she was busy, and all of us need some Martha in us to make sure that we have things in order, to make sure that business is handled, to be welcoming and inviting. But there are times when it comes to the Father, the only thing we need to do is sit and commune with him. We don't need to prepare because he's already the preparation. We just need to get and sit at his feet, hear his voice. What is he saying? What does he need from us? What is he downpouring into us? And he didn't call her one time, but he called her twice. He said, Martha, Martha, you are worried and upset about many things. And so I call you today, whatever your name is, what are you worried? What are you upset about? When you have the best thing, Jesus is the best thing. When you can go and you can sit at his feet, you can commune and get quiet before him to hear what he is saying to us. And I can say that I'm guilty sometimes of being too busy when the only thing he is saying is, Shawn, Shawn, come and sit. Come commune with me. Come spend time with me so that I, the Lord your God, can pour into you. A noisy season is not always about sin. Sometimes it's just about overcrowding. A noisy season isn't always about getting the job done, but it's about our day-to-day being overcrowded. What have we taken on that we no longer need to carry? That's no longer a part of our purpose. It's no longer a part of our destiny, but we've done it for so long that we think we still need to carry it with us. We still need to work it out. We still need to fix it. We still need to be a part of the solution. And that is no longer a part of our journey. Who are you still carrying that you no longer need to carry? You are trying to fix it for them. You are trying to work it out for them. And they're no longer a part of this season of your life. They're no longer a part of this season of my life. And we've got to lay that burden down. We've got to give it up. We've got to stop carrying it because we no longer need it. We have too many voices that produce too many demands, that produce too many urgent things. We have too many voices that are requesting too many demands, and they are producing too many urgent things. We've got to know when the voices that are speaking no longer need to speak into our lives. They no longer have our ear. They no longer are placing demands on us. And therefore, we will no longer operate in urgency to fix those situations. You got to make sure that you know when some seasons are up and the noise of that season has to come to an end. I want to remind you that we are talking about when everything is talking at once, but God is still speaking. Noisy season of our life. This is a key truth. Take note of this. Noise is what happens when many things crowd out the one thing. Noise is what happens when many things are crowding out the one thing. We have to know what thing is important and or things are important for this time and season in our life. And if we're not in tune, we will let so many things that are not a part of the season begin to speak, and they produce noise, and that noise blocks out the one thing, the things that are important. And those are the things that we need to be moving on and growing in. For instance, your phone has 30 notifications. 30 text messages have come through. Only 2 of them are what we really need to be paying attention to. But we had 30 that came through. That what? It distracts us. It keeps us busy. It keeps us doing things. It keeps us continuously scrolling. It keeps us continuously picking up and putting down and picking up and putting down and looking to see when we don't even really need to be paying to that attention to that thing at all. Our spirit begins to feel overwhelmed, not because God is absent, but because our attention is being divided. Our attention is being shifted. Our attention is paying attention to this and that and that and this. And we're moving and sitting down and getting up, all because of the noise. What is the noise saying to you? When is the last time you sat and you were just quiet? Sometimes it's not the season that needs to be rebuked. We need to recognize the source of the noise. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes it's not the season that needs to be rebuked. We need to recognize the source of all the noise. the source of all the noise. We have to understand what is our assignment, because every open door is not your door. Every open door is not my door. We can't just go getting happy because we see open doors, because some open doors can end up being a trap. Have you ever taken on something and you found out months, weeks later that you were overwhelmed because that really wasn't for you? It looked good when it was presented to you. It looked good when you saw it, but you found out I wasn't even supposed to walk through that door. I wasn't even supposed to take on this assignment. And that's why we have to have a prayer life. That's why we have to ask God, God, is that for me? It looks good. Is that job opportunity for me? Oh, that's a good business deal. But since you know what's down the street and around the corner, should I place hand on that or should I wait? Because that might not be the right thing for me. We have to know if it's our season. Can we step into it? Because if we step into something that we are not assigned to, guess what? It's going to begin to produce noise. It's going to begin to produce the place of unrest. It won't be a place of peace for us. And that will be because we moved in ourselves and not in divine purpose. And that is what we're talking about, is walking in purpose, walking in destiny, being transformed, growing, getting into the place that he wants us to be, so that we can do it each and every day of our life, and that we're not just doing it. Fulfillment is coming from the place of growth, of change, and development. We want to walk in fulfillment. We want to walk in fullness. We want to walk in purpose. We don't want to be walking in the place of an assignment that was not our assignment. Noise increases when we move and there is no clarity. We have no clarity about the assignment. We have no clarity about the job. We have no clarity about moving from point A to point B. And when we have no clarity, usually there is a lot of noise, a lot of rumbling, trying to keep us finding that place, that place, that place. Why? Because noise increases when there is no clarity. Saying yes to everything will give you spiritual burnout. You can't say yes to everything. We weren't made to say yes to everything. So we've got to know when there's a good opportunity, or is it a God opportunity? We've got to know that just because it comes, that doesn't mean we have to say yes. We can say, you know what, I appreciate that, but I don't think this is a season for me, or that's not for me at this time. Honored that you thought about me, but I'm going to have to decline on that offer. Why? Because I'm not getting released to operate in that place when everything else is speaking, is making noise, and God is still speaking. Are you listening? Doing good things outside of your assignment will produce external and internal noise. Doing good things outside of what you've been assigned to will produce external and internal noise. You got to be aware of the growth shift in your life. Is it time for you to move into that? Should you be walking in that season? Is it necessary? Is it needed? You only know those things when you spend time with the Father. Assignment, your assignment, my assignment reduces noise because it filters out what I would entertain. When I am on assignment, I'm listening for direction, and I begin to know what way I need to move. It is important that we take time to commune with the Father, so we will know what we are to put our hands to, what we have been assigned to, what is going to benefit us and ultimately others in this season of our life. Pay attention to the assignment. God is not in the noise. Learn what he is not saying and what he is not leading us to. We've got to learn what he is not saying and what he is not leading us to. Not everything powerful is God. It may be a great business opportunity and everybody is coming on board, and that's a powerful person and they're a mover and a shaker. Okay, so we brought movers and shakers together. But does it mean that it's God? Does it mean that I need it for my season of my life right now? We have to ask those questions. Not everything loud is divine. If we go back to think about when 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 you were last moving and you thought it was great, it was good, it was powerful, and it flopped. Why? Because every season is not for us. Everybody else's season is not for us. It may be divine and powerful for them, but that doesn't mean that I am to walk in that area of my life. Emotional overwhelmness does not mean we know then that God is not speaking, because he's not giving us things that are going to overwhelm us. Now, there are times we are walking in purpose and God, it feels like a lot. And yes, I'm overwhelmed, but usually when I may be feeling overwhelmed, when I go to the Father, he gives me strategy. He gives me plan. And that's the good thing about God. He does not always show us everything at one time. He tells us, you take one step. I'm right here with you. I'm going to show you something. And when you begin to walk into what I show you, then I'm going to open up another door. Oh, you walk through that door. I'm going to give you a little bit more, because he knew, he knew, and he knows if he showed us the whole thing, many of us would be like, I'm not doing that. God, that can't be for me, because we can't handle all of it at one time. But as we move in him, he fortifies us, he strengthens us, he gives us the wisdom and the knowledge that we need to walk out our soul salvation with fear and trembling, to walk out our purpose, to walk out our destiny. And so it's up for us to walk in it. So if we're feeling emotionally overwhelmed, we can exchange that to hearing the voice of God. God, what are you saying for me? Because I don't want to be walking in my emotions, but I do want to be walking out the purpose that you are speaking for my life. If I'm feeling urgency, I don't know, should I be doing? No, I need to come back to you and ask you, I need you to give me clear vision, what? For the assignment. I'm not going to walk in anxiousness. I'm not going to walk in anxiety, because I am walking in you. And if I am operating and walking in you, I'm walking in purpose. I'm walking in vision. I'm walking in destiny. And that is my assignment. If I'm feeling pressure, God, I come giving it to you, because you are giving me the place where I can walk in purpose. Pressure, purpose. I'll take purpose all day long. And yes, I may feel the weight of the pressure. I may feel the weight of the purpose, but I have you right there with me. You are leading, guiding, and orchestrating every step of my life. In the storm, everything moves, but clarity comes after the storm settles. We've got to allow the storms of our life to settle so God can give us clarity and vision to see. So if you don't know, now is the perfect time for you to ask God, God, what are you saying? Clear the clutter, clear the noise, so that I can hear you, so that I can walk with you. So I'll know what you are saying for me to operate each and every day of my life. Check out the noise that you are hearing. What is the noise that is operating in you each and every day? We've got to name it and not shame what we hear. We've got to be able to sit with it. And we can't name it if we don't do the research, if we don't diagnose what it is. Psalms 46:10 says, be still and know. It didn't say be still and guess. It didn't say be still and maybe I'll let you know. He said, be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. As I was researching and doing some studying for this, I thought about the children of today versus how my parents raised us. And we can look today at our children and we can see that many children haven't been taught how to be still. How do you know? Because when they're out in public, they're crawling all over their parents' shoulders and their heads. And while you're in restaurants, they're standing up in the seats and they're looking at the people behind them. When you try to make them sit down, they start screaming and hollering. Why? Because they haven't been taught how to be still. There is a discipline that comes with learning. My mother used to make us sit down and she would say, I want you to sit 10 minutes, be still. And if we would go to get a toy or something, she said, put it down, sit, be still. We couldn't have paper, pencil, crayons, toys, nothing. We couldn't play with each other. We had to sit and be still. For whatever amount of time she told us, I found myself, I didn't understand it when I was a kid, but I found myself doing the same thing when I had children. What I found out it produced was when we got out and I said, sit here and be still. They were accustomed to sitting and being still. They understood the assignment. And sometimes we have not gotten the assignment because we haven't taken time to be still and know God. Be still. Noise moving around, get still. God, what is the purpose for me? What do you want me to understand? What do you want me to see? What are you trying to teach me? That comes with discipline. Many of us can't develop a prayer life. Why? Because we can't get still. It's not that he's not speaking, but we're not still enough to hear his voice. When is the last time you just sat and you were still? Silence doesn't create noise. Silence doesn't create noise, but it will reveal the noise. Silence doesn't create noise, but it will reveal the noise. What rises in silence is what's been ruling in the noise. Have you ever got silent? Really got silent and you started feeling all these emotions? Guess what? Those emotions have been ruling when it was noisy, but you were too busy to hear it. We have to get to a place where we quiet the noise in our life. I want to give you that key truth again. What rises in silence is what has usually been ruling in the noisy places of our lives. When you sit in silence, if anxiety shows up, anxiety has been ruling when in the noisy space of your life. A lot of times I hear people say, oh, that's my anxiety. Oh, I refuse to claim I'm not going to have anxiety. That's something that's trying to come up. But in the name of Jesus, I rebuke you. No, I'm not going to live in the place of anxiety. If you pause and as soon as you get quiet, your brain begins to overthink. Overthinking has been ruling in the noisy place of your life. If you stop moving and all of a sudden you get really emotional, you feel, because you've been emotional in the noisy place of your life. You should be able to get quiet and peace is there. Rest is in the quiet place. That's why we have to begin to teach ourselves, train ourselves, seek for God so that he can begin to grow us. We can't continue to live in just the noisy place all the time. We should not have constant seasons of noisiness. God is speaking. Are you quiet enough to hear his voice? God is speaking. He's showing us something. Are you quiet enough to hear his voice? Awareness is the first step to alignment. Awareness is the first step to alignment. You have got to do the noise inventory. Awareness is the first step to alignment. Do your noise inventory. What is making too much noise in your life? What is making too much noise in your life? Lamentations, a very powerful book But in the third chapter of Lamentations, there was so much talking and sharing that was going on with us. We believe that Jeremiah is the writer of Lamentations, and he gave us some powerful things in the book of Lamentations in the third chapter. He talks about hope in suffering. He talks about God's character. He talks about self examination and repentance. And then he talked about divine discipline versus the wrath. And if we go back just a little bit, if we begin to talk about hope and suffering, he begins to describe to us that there's unbearable pain that shows up, but we can trust God for hope. And he emphasizes that God does not abandon us, his people. So I don't know what you may be going through, but if you will sit in quiet, if you will get with God, even if you feel abandoned, you can talk with him. And I want to share with you that there will be hope for whatever the situation is that you may be going through. It is up for you to seek the Father so that you can receive his hope. He recalls that God is good and his compassion, it doesn't fail. His compassion is faithfulness to us. He is faithful to us. And so if you are wondering or thinking, I don't know if I can make it through, you absolutely can, because you can rest in the God of your salvation. He is the God of all things, and no good thing will he withhold from us if we walk, if we get before him, if we seek him. And in seeking him, that shows us self-examination, and it shows us that when we repent and we search for him, that he hears our cry and he will hear our heart's prayer. Got to get before him. And though we may go through painful situations, God's heart is never far from us. He provides us a place of redemption. We've got to make sure that we are checking the noise inventory, that we don't forget who God is. You say, well, what is noise inventory? What do you mean by that? I'm talking about those categories of external inputs, those things that are constantly feeding into our spirits, conversations, various responsibilities, social media. Those are things, they begin to produce noise, and we've got to be able to filter out what is not good for us. Things that are emotional triggers, stress and fear, pressure, disappointment. Those can produce what? Noise inventory, reoccurring thoughts, overthinking, doubt, the narrative, replaying something over and over and over. If I would have did this, or if that would have happened, I wouldn't have ended up here. How did I end up here? That place of feeling sorry for ourselves. Stop it. They produce noise, and it ends up building up inventory in our psyche, in our subconscious, in our heart, in our emotions. And then when they build those things, we begin to feel what? A lack of clarity. We have spiritual fatigue. We are disconnected spiritually. We have got to lay those things at the altar. We've got to lay them at the feet of the Father and seek, knowing that he is constantly growing us. He is constantly teaching us. And so we've got to lay those things down. As we go into this week, I want to challenge you. You need to sit somewhere in raw silence for 10 minutes. No phone, no music, no children, no multitasking, no TV on, no sitting out. You may sit outside, but no place where there's a whole lot of movement. And I want to challenge you to just sit in silence. You and God, sit there. Maybe you can do 10 minutes, but maybe your challenge is you can't do it for 20 minutes. I usually sit, I take pen and paper because I want to hear what you're going to say. Put the phone somewhere else, take off the Apple Watch, all the devices, and I sit.